Well, hello, everybody. It is the end of 2024, so I thought it was a great time to record a video with tips for being a landlord. Now, I've been a landlord for many years. I have several properties that I manage, and as a realtor, I do have that advantage. So I wanted to make sure that you had all the tips and tricks you needed in order to also find landlording a successful business for you. So that's kind of where we need to start. And the fact that being a landlord is being a business owner. You have a lot of laws and rules that you must follow in order to be successful at your business. And so today I'm going to present 5 essential tips and 3 strategies that will ensure that you have successful long term tenants, um, provided that you follow these tips and strategies and that you do understand you have resources to help you when you need it. Now, although I'm talking to landlords, I very well know that tenants also have responsibilities and obligations. So let's dive in and have a look at these tips. So the first tips that I have are understanding the lease agreement. So if you work with a realtor, they will provide a couple of documents. One is the lease agreement. The lease agreement is the negotiated terms and conditions for leasing a property in Ontario. I can't speak to other provinces. I'm licensed in Ontario, and the rules in Ontario are different than other places in the country and even other places in the world. So don't take your understanding of one location or region and think that it's going to be the same here. So you want to understand your lease agreement, take some time, review it carefully, and also ask your realtor to help review it with you. If you are planning to do a rent increase, then you want to make sure that you're providing proper rent increase notice. In Ontario, that is 90 days written before doing so. You can raise the rent once every 12 months, but you have to make sure that you're providing that 90-day notice. The next tip is ensure maintenance and habituality is taken care of. So you want to make sure that you go in, and one time that I tend to go in and inspect the units is around the holiday season. I might bring my tenant a gift card as a little Merry Christmas, a Christmas card. I usually mail them, but of course this year is a crazy year. Canada Post has been on strike, so I tended to bring things when I saw people in person rather than relying on a delivery method. But it's a great time to go in. I inspect the lint trap. I may look under sinks to make sure there's no water drippage. I will ask the tenant if they have any issues. I may check the seals on doors and windows. So those would be the common things. But I definitely check the lint trap. You may also want to get in the habit of checking smoke detectors and CO2 monitors at this time as well. And this would be what I call my annual inspection. Now, you do have to respect the privacy, and for access, you have to provide your tenant with 24 hours notice, with the exception being if it's an emergency. An emergency is, for me and for you, would be electrical and especially water, because those are two things that could cause severe damage. So, water, you can go in earlier, less than 24 hours notice. Again, you want to have that good relationship with your tenant. So, if there is something going wrong, you want them to be able to alert you so that you can handle that. My fifth tip is follow the proper eviction process. So, if you are planning to evict, there are some forms that you can utilize in order to do that. By the way, at the end of this presentation, I will provide you with some links, and I will post those links in the description box for this video so you have access to those for your future reference. All right, let's move away from tips and talk about some strategies. As you recall at the start of this video, I said your tenants are your customer. So you want your customers to be happy. Of course, happy customers will also mean that they will most likely take better care of your investment property. That's really the critical point here. Treat them well, and in return, they will treat your property well. So you want to be responsive and communicative. Again, reach out, especially early in the leasing period, maybe in the first couple of weeks. Reach out, say, how's everything going? Have you had any issues? Is there anything that you would like me to review? And then maybe try again 6 months later. And then, of course, 90 days in advance, you want to send them out the rent increase notice. You want to make sure that you are properly checking on any repairs. I like to use the Jiffy app when there is a repair, something that needs to be done. It's just very easy. And I do put the tenant in the place of responsibility for coordinating the time that the repair person can come in, because ultimately it has to meet with their schedule, not with mine. And I usually make sure that if there's negligent, that the tenant is responsible for paying for that. But if it's general maintenance, then it is a landlord responsibility. So save a budget for things like maintenance and repairs every year. The third tip I have is to be fair and transparent. So you again are governed by some legislation in Ontario. So there's a lot of things that you just can't do on a whim, and so you want to make sure that you're aware of what those are. You want to communicate very clearly. At the beginning of the leasing process, you may even want to exchange email addresses as well as phone numbers, so that both you and the tenant can communicate as quickly as possible. The goal of that is just to make sure that if something goes wrong, that it gets fixed before it becomes a major headache and problem. I recently had to replace the floors in a suite, and my insurance covered the repairs. I had to pay the deductible, but the tenant's insurance was responsible for the tenant's move out costs and those expenses. So it wasn't my insurance. The nice thing is now I have brand new floors in that unit. So, being a landlord is important, but being a great landlord is really your goal. So, you need to make sure that you follow the rules and understand what the laws are pertaining to landlord and tenant rights and responsibilities. So, take some time and learn about what is involved with being a great landlord. And I think that would be your first success strategy. Now, I've got some links, but I'll tell you what they are. And then again, don't forget, I'll post them for you. So, the Landlord and Tenant Board, if you need forms, they're there, which is nice. So, rent renewal forms, notice forms, they're all there. I've also got the Residential Tenancy Act link. I will share that, and the Ontario Standard Lease Agreement. So, back many years ago now, I think it was like 2017, we came up with, I didn't, the government at the time came up with a standard form of lease that is the only legal lease. And although you may have a lease agreement in place if you worked with me or one of my wonderful associates, at the same time, they would have also had prepared this Ontario Standard Lease, which is the rules that you can go through. It's many pages, but it's all standard terms. That is the core of what a lease in Ontario will look like. All right, so I've got some great links for you. Ultimately, the goal is to be a great landlord. And in order to be a great landlord, you want to respect your tenants as your customer. You want to ensure that both you and the tenant have a great relationship by maintaining that wonderful communication. And in return, the tenant also has responsibilities and rules that they must abide by. Well, that's my quick video for today on being a great landlord. If you are looking for a tenant and would like to have a listing service and marketing service done for your unit or your property, reach out to me. Until then, take care.